Thank you for clicking on the video. We are stepping back into the Charmed universe today. As per usual, if you don't like spoilers, then you should jump off of here, go watch Charmed, and then come back. But if you don't care, we move on. So, we're talking about Phoebe and Cole today. That relationship, like just the situation between them, went on way longer than it needed to go on. You know what I mean? And I feel like one of the reasons why it went on so long is because in season three is when Cole first shows up. Phoebe is immediately smitten with him, and they start this romance or whatever. But in one of the earlier episodes of season three, the charmed ones are sent back in time, and while they're there, they basically have to save their whole lineage, right? And in the midst of them being there, this guy tells Phoebe her true love's first initial, and it turns out to be a C. Okay, so she immediately goes to, oh my gosh, it's Cole. And Cole immediately goes to, oh my gosh, it's me. But I want to point out she ends up with a Cupid named Coop. I don't know if the writers did that on purpose, but if they just so happen to remember that from season 3 and did that on purpose, like that was perfectly done. But I'm pretty sure they did that by accident. But it worked. Like her true love's first initial turned out to be a C. And so I love that little detail. It's something that I've always noticed. I don't know if they did it on purpose, but I kind of hope they did. I probably will never find out, but it doesn't matter. So yeah, and I think because of that moment, both Phoebe and Cole hung on to that relationship for way longer than it needed to be. Um, Cole, Cole started out trying to kill them, and he couldn't do it because he was so in love with Phoebe, right? His human half couldn't do it. And then, over the course of the seasons, we see him, become human, then become a demon, then become human, then become a demon, then die, and then not die, and then die again. So it was just a bunch of back and forth BS with it. And I think it was just for plot lines, right? I want to start out by saying, when it comes to the situation with their relationship continuing on in season 4, the way that it just picks up is so awkward. Now, mind y'all, after season 3, they had fired Shannon Doherty. I think I can't. I have a hard time saying her last name, but they fired the woman who played Prue. Terrible mistake because I loved Prue. But they fired her, and she was actually dating the guy that played Cole. I can't remember his name right now. But there was a bunch of big mess behind that, right? And a part of that mess was Alyssa Milano being a little too touchy-feely off screen with this guy who plays Cole, and it was just completely inappropriate. And I guess she really wanted him to be, her partner in the show. And so when you see how season 3 ends, because he's in this brotherhood by the end of season 3, he's not even in the final episode, but they pick back up with him just being a part of the little group, and he's in the house. He's no longer in the brotherhood. They just deleted that whole storyline with the brotherhood. We don't see anything about them, hear anything else about them anymore. And I didn't like that. I didn't like the whole situation with getting rid of Prue. And I'm gonna be completely honest, this is a little off topic, but I remember Prue being in the episodes when Chris was around. I don't know, this is when I was a kid, okay, when these episodes were coming out, but I'm pretty sure I thought I saw Prue in those episodes, and then I get older and rewatch Charmed, and no, it's Paige, and I was just so confused. I'm like, I swear Prue was in these episodes. But so it's crazy how kid brains work or whatever. But yeah, I didn't like when they just kept bringing him back. Even when he was supposed to die at the end of season 4, because he was the source, and then they had to kill him off because he went ahead and killed the innocent that they didn't want him to kill. And so they was like, no, we done with you, Cole. You out of here. And they killed him off, right? And then he just still lingers. And then in season 5, here he comes again, still on BS, and they have to kill him again. Now, I will say, that episode where they finally, end the situation with Cole, I love that episode. I like that episode where Paige goes back and she's encountering, Leo and Piper, who aren't married, and Piper's not pregnant, and then, Phoebe's just in Phoebe world, which is kind of the thing that I want to talk about. Their relationship in that timeline was so toxic, right? Like, clearly that version of Cole was, very neglectful, didn't pay her much mind, abusive, and, just kind of egotistical, had a really big head, didn't care about her per se, right? And mind you, the whole point of him going back in time and changing the timeline was so he could be with Phoebe, because he was obsessed with Phoebe. And that's the thing, because I don't think he was realizing that he was more so obsessed rather than in love. Because, and it goes back to that moment in season 3, I think he was like, well, we're supposed to be together. We're supposed to be together. But there's many other people whose names start with a C. I don't know why y'all just was like, oh, it just has to be Cole because he the one in my life right now. Okay. But yeah, he was more so obsessed with her to the point that he changes the timeline, and you're still not in a good space with her, because in that timeline y'all relationship had already, developed into this negative thing. And we see that in season 4, we see that kind of like abusive kind of dynamic between those two. She acted very scared of him. Like, I don't know if I was over analyzing the episodes in season 4, but she seemed like scared of him. Like so he gets this house from this job that is not a real job. He just became the source and was able to do whatever the heck he wanted again. So he gets this condo and they move into it. Like, he basically coerces her into moving in. He manipulates the house situation so that, it seems really chaotic because she just started this job. So it seems overly chaotic, and she can't hear herself think, and she can't get her work done. So she's like, yeah, let's get the heck away from my sisters, And, he tricks her into moving in, basically, And then when they're there, he's like, oh, I don't want Paige and them orbing in. And she like took it a little too serious. Like, he got upset. Like, he would get frustrated, right? And be like, oh, like, why would you let that happen? Why would you do this? Like, it was borderline. It was borderline. You know what I mean? And he I think he scared her. Like, she was acting abused. She was acting like that episode when Paige orbed in to try and, because Piper was trying to get pregnant, and her and Leo was having a really hard time. So, Paige orbed in there to try and get Phoebe to go and talk to Piper, because they're a little bit closer. They've known each other a little bit longer or whatever. So when she's there, Cole gets mad at her, obviously. And then when she tells Phoebe that she ordered, she's like, what? Was Cole there? Like, I'm trying not to laugh, but she was like, did he see you? Was he mad? Like, girl, it's not that serious. This is your sister, by the way. I don't understand why y'all act like what's the point in y'all having these gifts? You know what I mean? Like, Cole know what it is, so the fact that he even had an issue with that should have told her that something was wrong with him. You know what I mean? And then another episode, like, I can't remember exactly what happened, but he was like very aggressive. I think he was upset about her getting hurt, but the way he was approaching her with the situation, like, you acting like you finna hurt her because she possibly got hurt while she was off doing her witch duties. You know what I mean? It was very weird energy, And I didn't like the dynamic. It definitely felt like it was leading to something very abusive and very, at least mentally and energetically straining for her, at least, because he's benefiting from this relationship in multiple ways. You're the top dog of the underworld now, and you got one of the charmed ones out of the way, and then you also are gonna have this demon baby who's gonna be super powerful, who is the actual source, by the way. And then, like, you're also getting your happiness or your fulfillment by having the one that you want by your side. You know what I mean? So he's benefiting way more than she is, because in the same space he's saying, hey, kind of, like, for sure I need you to cut your sisters off. And also, like, you have to get to the side of darkness now. And also, I might kill your sisters at some point. I might want your help with it. You have to let me, like, you have to ignore your powers, because I'm going to do what I want to do. You know what I mean? It was just a bunch of BS. Now, I didn't like their relationship, for real, for real. They had moments where they were cute, but those moments definitely did not outweigh the craziness that they went through. This girl wanted to be a whole mermaid to get away from him, if that doesn't say it. And then in that episode, like, when they finally get her to turn back into a human, like, they try to be like, oh no, she just loves him so much. Are we sure that this is love? Are we sure that this is about love? You know what I mean? Like, because it's kind of crazy to be so in love with someone that you want to stay a mermaid. That is kind of crazy. Kind of insane, actually. I don't know if I was in love with somebody that I would want to be a mermaid. Just personal preference. But yeah, and this is my thing. I get that she wanted him to not be bad or evil, but he made his choices, right? Like, when he was in that place, like, he could have just let himself get consumed like every other being that got sent there. He chose to not get, and then after it was all said and done, he still was left in purgatory because of his human side. Like, they were just like, we really don't know what to do with the human side of you. We can kill the demon side of you, but we don't know what to do with the... Send him somewhere. I don't know. Get rid of him. Delete him from history. Who knows? I don't freaking know. But the fact that y'all, like, in the cosmos, just don't know where to send this person, to the point that at any moment he could probably find another way to escape this place as well. But, we see that he's in purgatory in season 7. And he sends Drake to help Phoebe not give up on love. I love Drake's character. I wish he had stayed on there longer. He was so fun, and I think he was perfect for Phoebe, actually. He got her to just, I think, be more upbeat, which... when you really go back to, like, the first and second season, like, Phoebe was a little bit more upbeat, and I think he brought that side back out of her. So I love that about Drake, but we'll get more into that later on, probably. I don't know, but yeah. So he's still not dead. Like, they just didn't want to let Cole go, and don't get me wrong, that guy who played him, he did a great job. Like, they all did well, all of them is kind of a bit of a stretch, and I will explain that in a different video. But most of them did a really great job in that show, and, like, they were able to make you believe the characters. And unfortunately, what I believed about Cole and Phoebe being together was that it was a mess and should have never happened. They should have broken up in season 3. She should have killed him in the mausoleum when she found out that he was the demon that was trying to kill them the entire time. Like, he gave this side story like, no, my human half was just so in love with you. No, I don't care. Like, you got to go. It played on way too long. That's pretty much all I want to talk about today. I have other videos on Charm coming out, so if I forgot something in this video, then I will definitely bring it up in another video. But I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, because there's more on the way. And remember, there is other videos already up if you like this video on charm, there is already another charm video up. So you should go and check it out. And until next time, bye.